Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. So, in our last session, we spent a good chunk of time exploring the concept of balance. You know, that wonderful principle that creates stability and visual harmony in everything we look at. But today we're pivoting entirely. We are moving away from that calm stability of balance straight into the dynamic, undeniable energy of contrast. Think about it like this. If balance is what keeps a design standing up, contrast is what makes it jump right off the page. It's the secret ingredient that gives a design its punch, its absolute focus, and its ultimate visual impact. Let's get into it. Right now, wherever you're sitting, I want you to literally look around your room. Seriously, take a second and do a quick squint test with me. Just narrow your eyes slightly until the room gets a little bit blurry. Okay, what is the very first thing that instantly grabs your eye? Is it a brightly lit window against a dark wall? Maybe a neon coffee mug sitting on a wooden desk? Whatever just fought through that blur to demand your attention, that is contrast in action. You're literally already experiencing it. Okay, let's dive into this formally. Contrast simply refers to the difference between elements in a design. It's this deliberate, powerful tool that designers use to make certain things stand out from the rest. Because honestly, without contrast, our world would feel incredibly dull. Everything would be flat, visually equal, and totally impossible to navigate. I mean, if everything shouts at the exact same volume, you don't hear a thing, right? Contrast is what turns down the background noise so the main message can be heard loud and clear. To really wrap our heads around why this matters, imagine looking at a poster where all the text is the exact same size and the exact same color. You wouldn't even know where to look first. Contrast solves this exact problem of visual equality. Take a look at this. On one hand, black text on a crisp white background gives us incredibly high readability. On the other hand, when similar colors just blend together, you get this flat, honestly frustrating visual. Contrast instantly tells your brain, hey, focus right here. When we actively prevent that chaotic, unreadable visual environment, we achieve a few highly specific things. Good contrast acts as a literal guide for your attention. It massively improves readability, as we just saw. It creates a clear visual hierarchy, meaning it literally tells you what to read first, second, and third. And, perhaps most importantly for keeping us engaged, it adds this much-needed visual excitement. It takes a complete jumble of information and transforms it into clear, effective communication. 5 ways to create contrast, the designer's toolkit. Let's do a rapid-fire breakdown of the 5 primary ways designers actually build this visual excitement.
Number 1 is color contrast. This is probably the most immediate one we notice. It's all about combining light versus dark colors, or warm versus cool colors. Picture a brilliant warm yellow text placed directly on top of a cool dark blue background. That immediate distinction practically vibrates, doesn't it? It completely forces your eyes to pay attention.
Number 2 is size contrast. This one is all about proportion. Massive elements naturally and forcefully attract our attention way before the tiny ones do. When you pair a huge, bold, heavy headline right next to much smaller, delicate supporting text, that size contrast creates an instant roadmap for your eyes. You know exactly what the most important piece of information is without even having to think about it.
Coming in at number 3, we have shape contrast. This happens when you combine rigid, mathematical, geometric shapes, think perfect squares or sharp triangles, with flowing, natural, organic shapes. That striking variation between the man-made feeling of rigid geometry and the natural feeling of organic lines creates this wonderful visual friction. You just can't look away from it.
Number 4 brings us to texture contrast. Now this one is incredibly tangible. It's placing smooth, highly polished surfaces directly against rough, tactile, gritty textures. And the crazy thing is, even on a flat digital screen or a printed page, our brains can literally feel the stark sensory difference between something that looks like slick glass resting against something that looks like rough concrete or woven fabric. And finally, number 5.
Value contrast. This is all about the lightness or darkness of an object, completely independent of its color. It's about emphasizing the strong differences between brightly lit areas and deeply dark shadows to create emphasis. And here's the real secret. The best designers out there, they don't just pick one of these. They will often layer color, size, and value contrast all at the exact same time for maximum undeniable visual impact.
Contrast in everyday Indian life. Design is everywhere you look. To really drive this home, let's see how these principles dictate how we interact with our world every single day. Let's apply our squint test to the world right outside your door. Think about UI and UX design. When you open a UPI app like PhonePay or when you're ordering on Swiggy, the send money or checkout button is always this massive, high-contrast color compared to the rest of the screen, right? It guides your usability perfectly. In fashion, picture a vibrant silk sari, maybe a deep, rich red, framed by a stark, heavy gold border. That contrast creates a breathtakingly strong visual identity. And in graphic design, just imagine a bustling local street market. The shops that actually catch your eye are the ones using bright, bold typography against solid backgrounds on their signs. They have to do that to improve instant readability amidst all that chaos. And these everyday examples continue right into the spaces we hang out in and the objects we hold. Take interior design. A brightly painted yellow door standing out against the plain, raw concrete walls of a modern Bangalore cafe instantly creates spatial character. It dictates the mood of the entire room. Or look at product design. The sleek, dark, matte finish of a smartphone casing directly contrasts with the brightly lit, vibrant digital screen. That contrast draws your absolute focus to the interface and vastly improves how you use the device.
The energy of contrast, how contrast makes you feel. Now, what's really interesting here is that contrast isn't just a functional tool for visibility, it's actually a psychological tool that dictates exactly how you feel when you look at something.
When a designer uses high contrast, the design feels bold, it's dramatic, it's dynamic and unapologetically attention-grabbing. It literally shouts with energy. But when a designer intentionally chooses low contrast, the whole design shifts. It feels soft, it feels subtle, calm, and highly minimal. It whispers. Designers are constantly adjusting this dial, moving back and forth between high and low contrast, specifically to engineer the exact emotional experience they want you to have. So the absolutely crucial point here is perfectly summarized by this quote from our source material. Good contrast creates clarity and communication. It really is the invisible hand that organizes our attention, prevents visual chaos, and delivers the ultimate visual impact. Whether it's a bright traffic sign keeping you safe on the road or an app interface helping you buy dinner, contrast is always behind the scenes doing the heavy lifting. So, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a little observation challenge to train your new designer's eye. Look at the nearest app on your phone, or the garment you are wearing right now, or even just the room you're sitting in. Ask yourself, what stands out first? How exactly has the designer created contrast here? Is it strong or is it subtle? I promise you, once you start seeing contrast, you are never going to look at the world the exact same way again. Next time, we're going to explore how contrast leads perfectly into our next major principle, emphasis. Until then, keep those eyes open. Are you seeing the world or are you just looking at it?